I kept a lot of Cassie's jeans. I take her lingerie. Mainly just the jeans.
Whispers have begun to swirl through both Hollywood and Washington, carrying a rumor as dazzling as it is unsettling. The name of Sydney Sweeney, one of Hollywood's brightest rising stars, has suddenly been linked to Barron Trump, the most private and enigmatic son of America's most controversial family. At first glance, it feels impossible, almost like a late-night television skit designed to shock and amuse. But then the question lingers, refusing to let go. Why would two worlds so vastly different, one drenched in red carpet glamour and the other shrouded in political power, suddenly collide in the same headline? Is this nothing more than a fleeting internet joke? A product of gossip culture spinning out of control? Or is there something hidden beneath the surface that the public has yet to uncover? As curiosity mounts, one can't help but wonder, is this rumor a spark of truth or simply the most bizarre twist in the ongoing saga of the Trump dynasty? Before we dive into this captivating story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of our exclusive stories about power, wealth, and the hidden truths behind the world's most talked about figures. Sydney Sweeney was never meant to be ordinary. Born in the small town of Spokane, Washington, she grew up far from the flashing lights of Hollywood, but her determination to make it onto the screen began early. As a child, she convinced her parents to let her audition by creating a detailed 5-year business plan outlining exactly how she would succeed in the industry. That blend of youthful ambition and striking intelligence foreshadowed the career that would later make her one of the most recognizable faces of her generation. Her rise wasn't overnight. It was the product of countless auditions, smaller roles, and the relentless grind of a young actress determined to prove herself. Then came her breakout moments. HBO's Euphoria introduced the world to a raw, vulnerable side of Sydney, with her performance as Cassie Howard, turning her into a household name. Audiences were captivated not just by her beauty, but by her ability to capture the fragility and chaos of modern youth. Soon after, The White Lotus elevated her reputation even further, earning her praise from critics who saw beyond the glamour and into the depth of her craft. Hollywood had officially crowned her a star, but Sydney wasn't content with being typecast as just another Hollywood ingenue. She took bold risks, joining blockbuster projects like Madame Web and stepping into the world of superhero cinema. She also carved out her place as a producer, proving that she wasn't just a face on the screen, but a mind behind the camera, shaping the stories she wanted to tell. This dual image, sultry yet sharp, glamorous yet grounded, has made her one of the most intriguing actresses working today. Fans adore her not only for her undeniable beauty, but also for her authenticity. She is approachable, hardworking, and unwilling to play by the tired rules of Hollywood. In interviews, she often speaks about her discipline, her business acumen, and the importance of staying true to herself, painting a picture of a woman who is as strategic as she is stunning. That is why when her name suddenly became entangled with Barron Trump, the elusive youngest son of former President Donald Trump, the rumor struck like lightning. It wasn't just shocking, it was strange. How could someone like Sydney, who carefully crafted her career on artistry, discipline, and credibility, find herself pulled into the orbit of America's most polarizing political dynasty? Was this simply a tabloid fantasy fueled by internet whispers and sensational headlines? Or was there something more, a hidden connection that blurred the line between Hollywood fantasy and political reality? The question lingers, tantalizing and unresolved. Would a star like Sydney Sweeney truly choose to step into the stormy, unpredictable world of the Trump family? Or is this entire story nothing more than smoke and mirrors? From the moment he was born, Barron Trump lived in the shadow of history. The youngest child of Donald Trump and Melania Trump, his earliest photographs show him standing quietly at his parents' side, his small hand tucked into his mother's palm, his wide eyes gazing out at the flashing cameras of a world that seemed determined to watch his every move. While his older siblings had already built lives of their own, Barron was just a boy caught between childhood innocence and the storm of politics surrounding his father's rise to the presidency. As the years passed, the boy who once appeared shy and small beside his towering parents transformed in ways that stunned even those who thought they knew the Trump family. Barron grew taller, stronger, and more striking than anyone expected. Today, at just 18 years old, he already stands at a remarkable 2 meters in height, a presence that makes him impossible to ignore. Yet despite his stature, he has remained the most private of the Trump children, carefully sheltered by Melania and deliberately distant from the political spotlight. Unlike his siblings who embrace business media and even politics, Barron has chosen a quieter path. After graduating high school, he enrolled at New York University, slipping into student life with as little fanfare as possible. There are no flashy Instagram posts, no carefully staged photographs with celebrities, no public declarations. In an era where even the children of the powerful often seek to monetize their fame, Barron's silence has become almost defiant, a mystery that both frustrates and fascinates the public. Even Donald Trump himself once remarked half-jokingly that Barron doesn't have a girlfriend yet. It was a rare glimpse into the personal life of a young man who has otherwise been a blank canvas for speculation. That single comment only deepened the curiosity of millions. If Barron truly has never dated, then who will be the first to step into his carefully guarded world? This curiosity is not mere gossip. It reflects a deeper fascination with Barron's story. He is, after all, the first son of a president raised in the glare of the digital age, yet somehow untouched by it. For years, people have wondered what kind of man he will become. Will he inherit the brashness of his father or the elegance and reserve of his mother? Will he choose to live in the shadows, or will the world eventually pull him into the spotlight he has avoided so carefully? And so the question lingers, whispered across social media and murmured in countless conversations. Who will be the one to capture the heart of Barron Trump? Will it be a girl from his university circle, a stranger far from the political stage, or, as the latest rumors suggest, someone as unexpected and dazzling as a Hollywood starlet? Sometimes all it takes is a single sentence to set the internet on fire. That was exactly what happened during a Fox News broadcast when host Jesse Waters, known for his sharp wit and occasional provocations, made an offhand remark that no one saw coming. With a sly smile, he joked that Hollywood actress Sydney Sweeney should marry Barron Trump, the most private heir of America's most polarizing dynasty. It was the kind of comment meant to spark a laugh, a throwaway line that might have disappeared in seconds. But in today's media landscape, nothing truly disappears. The internet reacted instantly. Within hours, memes began flooding Twitter, and Instagram photoshopped wedding pictures of Barron and Sydney, satirical headlines announcing a new Trump dynasty, and endless jokes about what their children might look like. TikTok was no different, short clips stitched together Jesse's comment with scenes from Euphoria, while others imagined Barron walking the red carpet hand in hand with the glamorous star. Hashtags spread like wildfire, pulling millions into the frenzy. What began as a punchline quickly transformed into something more curious. The public reaction was strangely divided, half amusement, half speculation. Some dismissed it as ridiculous gossip, a reflection of America's obsession with celebrity culture. But others, perhaps drawn in by the sheer absurdity of the idea, began to wonder if there might be some hidden truth behind the laughter. Could a joke repeated enough times and shared across enough platforms plant the seed of a rumor strong enough to take on a life of its own? This moment revealed more than just the fascination with Barron Trump or Sydney Sweeney. It reflected the immense power of media in shaping narratives. In an era where news cycles spin faster than ever, and social media rewards the outrageous, even a casual quip can snowball into a cultural talking point. And so the question emerges, when a single joke can spark a worldwide rumor, what does it say about the way we consume and believe stories in the digital age? Rumors often thrive because they allow people to dream, to imagine a world more dramatic than reality. And few rumors invite more playful speculation than the idea of Sydney Sweeney, the glamorous Hollywood starlet, joining hands with Barron Trump, the towering and mysterious heir to America's most controversial dynasty. It sounds like the plot of a modern fairy tale. The princess of the silver screen meets the prince of politics, and together they form a union that no tabloid could ever ignore. Picture the scene for a moment. The wedding, of course, would be nothing short of legendary. Would it take place in the gilded halls of Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's lavish Florida estate, with crystal chandeliers reflecting off golden walls as celebrities and politicians sat shoulder to shoulder? Or would the fantasy stretch even further? Could such a marriage one day bring Hollywood glamour to the very steps of the White House, transforming what was once a seat of power into the stage for America's most spectacular love story, the Trump family's reactions would undoubtedly fuel the headlines. Donald Trump, a man who has built his life on larger-than-life stories, might beam with pride at the thought of his youngest son marrying one of Hollywood's most admired actresses, turning the Trump dynasty into something even more untouchable. Melania, protective and elegant, might raise an eyebrow at the sudden intrusion of Hollywood chaos into her son's carefully guarded life. And Barron's older siblings, Ivanka Don Jr. and Eric, would surely have their own opinions whispered or shouted about what this union could mean for the family's legacy. Hollywood, on the other hand, would be equally divided. Some would celebrate Sydney as a modern Grace Kelly, an actress trading red carpets for royal corridors. Others would recoil, imagining that marrying into the Trump family would tarnish her rising career. Talk show hosts would feast on the story, late-night comedians would turn it into nightly material, and social media would devour every photograph, every whispered rumor, every stolen glance between the unlikely couple. And yet beneath the spectacle lies a deeper fascination. Power couples have always captured the world's attention. Think of John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline, or even Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. If Sydney and Barron were to unite, could they become something similar, perhaps even greater? The merging of Hollywood stardom and political royalty is a formula for influence unlike any other. Together, they would not just dominate headlines, they might reshape the cultural imagination of America itself. So we leave the question hanging deliberately open-ended for the audience to ponder. Do you believe that Sydney Sweeney and Barron Trump, if they were ever to become a couple, could rise to be the most powerful and perhaps the most polarizing pair in the United States? Every rumor sparks a ripple, but when two worlds as different as Hollywood and the Trump dynasty collide, the ripples become waves. For Sydney Sweeney's fans, the reaction was swift and protective. Many adore her for her beauty, talent, and independence, and the idea of her being drawn into the brutal battlefield of politics felt unsettling. Social media lit up with concern. Would Sydney's career, carefully built on artistry and hard work, become overshadowed by endless political drama if she were truly tied to the Trump name? For her admirers, the thought was almost unbearable. Meanwhile, the Trump family's response was telling. Donald Trump, a man who rarely shies away from making a headline, chose silence. Perhaps he found the rumor amusing, perhaps irrelevant, or perhaps he understood that even acknowledging it would give it more power. Melania, ever composed and fiercely protective of Barron, also maintained her trademark quiet, guarding her son's privacy as she always has. This silence only fueled speculation. Was the family dismissing the story as nonsense? Or was there something they preferred to leave unspoken? The press, of course, wasted no time. Tabloids splashed playful mock-ups of wedding covers across their pages, while late-night comedians turned the story into endless punchlines. Satirical columns compared Barron and Sydney to modern fairy tale figures caught between glamour and politics. And yet beneath the humor, there was an edge of fascination. Reporters noted how such unions between power and celebrity have captivated the public, before most notably Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, whose marriage rewrote the script of the British royal family. Could America be witnessing the birth of its own unlikely royal couple, born not of crowns but of cameras and controversy? In the end, the reactions revealed more about us than about Barron or Sydney. They showed how quickly the world projects its hopes, fears, and fantasies onto the young and the famous. And they left one lingering question: is this merely a passing joke, or the first chapter in a story that neither Hollywood nor Washington can ignore? In today's media battlefield, even the most frivolous rumor can be sharpened into a weapon. The playful suggestion of a romance between Sydney Sweeney and Barron Trump was never meant to carry weight, but it didn't take long for political voices to seize it. On the right, conservative commentators leaned into the fantasy, with humor framing it as a symbol of the Trump dynasty stretching into the future. Jokes about Barron inheriting not only his father's fortune, but also Hollywood glamour became easy applause lines, softening the hard edges of politics with a touch of satire. On the left, however, the reaction was more biting. Liberal outlets and social media personalities mocked the very idea, turning it into a punchline about the absurdity of mixing celebrity culture with political power. For them, the rumor was not harmless entertainment, but another opportunity to caricature the Trump family as a spectacle fuel for criticism, ridicule, and endless memes. Yet beyond the laughter, one question emerged: can a simple rumor about love and marriage become a form of soft power in political storytelling? After all, public image has always been a battlefield of its own. Politicians are judged not only on policies, but on the stories attached to their families, their marriages, and their children. A glamorous Hollywood star linked to Barron, even as a joke, reshapes how the public imagines the Trump legacy, less as a rigid political empire and more as a living, evolving dynasty. This is the true power of image. It bypasses logic and dives straight into emotion. It captivates the imagination, creates talking points, and makes the abstract idea of dynasty feel tangible. Whether admired or mocked, the rumor illustrates how fragile the line is between entertainment and politics in modern America. And it leaves us with a provocative truth: sometimes the smallest whispers can echo the loudest in the theater of public opinion. When the laughter fades and the headlines quiet down, the truth becomes clear: there is no evidence, none at all, that Sydney Sweeney and Barron Trump have ever shared anything beyond the coincidence of a joke. Despite the whirlwind of speculation, Sydney's real life tells a very different story. She remains happily engaged to her longtime fiancé, Jonathan Davino, a steady presence far removed from the chaos of internet rumors. Their relationship, built away from the spotlight of politics, reflects the grounded private side of a woman often mistaken for nothing more than a Hollywood fantasy. As for Barron, his path is equally distant from the gossip. At 18, he is focused on his studies at New York University and quietly exploring the possibilities of business. Unlike his siblings, who have long embraced the stage of media and politics, Barron has chosen privacy, building a life that belongs to him rather than to the Trump name. By all accounts, romance is not at the center of his story right now. Ambition, education, and independence are. The supposed connection between Sydney and Barron was never a romance, never even a whisper of truth. It was born from one moment of television humor, a passing joke that spiraled into a cultural phenomenon. And yet in that spiral, something fascinating was revealed: the ease with which public imagination can transform satire into speculation, and speculation into a narrative that feels almost real. This is the danger and the wonder of modern media. A single remark, repeated and exaggerated, can create what psychologists call a collective fantasy, a story people know is untrue, but still enjoy entertaining as if it could be real. It is a reminder that sometimes we are not consuming news but dreams, reflections of our own fascination with power, beauty in the lives of others. The truth may be simple, but the lesson is profound. Not every rumor hides a secret. Sometimes it is only a mirror of our collective imagination. Why do stories like the imagined romance between Sydney Sweeney and Barron Trump spread so quickly, capturing attention far beyond their substance? The answer lies in the psychology of curiosity and the cultural magnetism of the Trump name. For years, the Trump family has been a symbol of wealth, controversy, and spectacle, a dynasty that feels larger than life. Any whisper involving them instantly draws eyes because people want to peek behind the curtain of one of America's most talked about families. At the same time, the rumor taps into something deeper: the timeless fantasy of a princess meeting a prince. Sydney, with her Hollywood glamour, represents the fairy tale starlet, while Barron, with his mysterious silence and towering presence, becomes the reluctant prince. Together, they form the perfect canvas for a modern myth. Even if the story is untrue, the idea alone is irresistible. It feeds a longing for drama, romance, and the blending of two powerful worlds. For younger audiences especially, such tales feel like harmless fun. They thrive on conspiracy theories, fan fiction, and speculative scenarios that blur the line between fact and fantasy. To them, the internet is not just a place to consume information, but a stage to create it, remix it, and laugh at it together. A rumor becomes less about truth and more about entertainment, a digital game where everyone is in on the joke, even while pretending to take it seriously. This is where the internet shows its power. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter transform rumors into memes, hashtags, and viral trends. What begins as a casual comment on television evolves into a shared cultural performance, one that millions join not because they believe it, but because they enjoy the spectacle. In the end, the fascination is not about Sydney or Barron themselves. It is about us, the audience. It reveals our hunger for fantasy, our curiosity about power, and our willingness to turn even the smallest spark into a fire of collective imagination. In the end, the Sydney Barron story was never real. It began as a joke, nothing more. Yet its journey across headlines and hashtags reveals something powerful: the ability of media to shape our imagination and the eagerness of the public to believe in fairy tales, even when they are built on nothing but whispers. Sometimes rumors are not about truth at all. They are about the stories we want to tell ourselves. So let us leave you with one final thought. What if one day Barron Trump truly did marry a Hollywood star? Would it be the ultimate love story or the most controversial union in modern America? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. We would love to hear your imagination at work. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that blend power, mystery, and the unexpected twists of life.